Hi, Mary Knipple, the book mentor, here with our another monthly training. Write your book, grow your business. I've been a journalist for over 35 years. I know you have to start your story somewhere. And oftentimes I get asked, well, how do I know what is my story? And then where do I start? So I thought that's what we talk about today. As Vince Lombardi says, hope is not a strategy. So you have to think about how are you going to approach this? And one of the ways that I encourage people to do is to just to start in the middle, start at the end, start at the beginning. And what do I mean by that? Well, think about something that has impacted your life. Think about something that changed the trajectory of who you are, made you the person you are today, gave you a path, a passion. I've always known that the answers for me were at the end of a pen. I kept a journal since I was 11. That's a way that you can have a conversation on paper that helps you hone into what the story is that you are here to tell. We have many life experiences, so we have many stories to tell. Not all of them are something that you're going to have a life changing experience that um, is going to define your destiny, but they all have a way of changing your life in some way. Perhaps you you're you misplaced your keys, so you're late for something that impacted your life. Not the way getting a form letter saying you have an abnormality on your breast cancer on your mammogram that leads you to have um, breast cancer surgery. No, those are the seemingly what's where am I? The seemingly random things, but they're not random. Nothing is random. Everything is designed for you specifically. It's just that we don't know how these puzzle pieces fit because we're born with all these puzzle pieces. But we don't know where they go to make up the package that's our entire life. Another quote that I really like is Annie Lamont's saying, "You got to start somewhere." You know, just getting something on the page. You have really bad first drafts. I had many really bad first drafts when I was writing The Secret Artist. And and every writer goes through this. Every writer has to get it out on the page so that they can rearrange those puzzle pieces to hone the message that they want you to know. That is the way that they are going to connect their story with your story. Because that's the truth. All of our stories do interconnect. And that's the beauty of the world that we live in, that we all are carrying around a little bit of everybody else's story and living our life to the best of our ability. And what what I love doing is asking people questions to help them see that story that they have discounted as, well, it's just ordinary, that it doesn't make any difference to anybody else. The truth is, and I firmly believe this, that if you don't tell your particular story, your story, the one that only you can tell because you're the one who knows it from the inside out, then somebody else won't have the life that they're designed to have. That's why it's critical that you discover the story that is yours to tell, the one that really you circle back to. That's where I learned this piece about myself. That's where I made the decision that I was going to handle it this way. You dug into all of the knowledge that you had thus far and up popped this jewel of wisdom that's yours to share with the world. One of the things that I learned after my second breast cancer experience was that I couldn't wait any longer to write my book. That was something that I dreamed of doing, and I couldn't wait any longer. That was my wake up call. And it also was my realization that my mission is to be a catalyst for other women to not feel that they're invisible, to recognize that they have a story and that somebody is waiting to hear it, that it's their destiny to have their story be heard, to use their voice. That's one of the reasons why I'm I'm the writing mentor to help anyone who I come in contact with to know that their story is critical to somebody else's story and help them shine the light on what it is that their voice needs to articulate. That's why I created the writing room so that anyone that I encounter who says, I never have time to write, that I say, okay, and what's your email? I'll send you a reminder to join us in the writing room on Tuesday mornings. So you have that sacred space that you show up and write. You write in your journal. You write that email series that you've been putting off. You write the content for your uh, program that you've been longing to write. You write the next chapter in your book. You get those things out of your head and onto the page so that you can show up and shine in this world. And that's another way that you can get writing and keep writing is to make a commitment to yourself and make a commitment to someone else. For instance, showing up in the writing room saying, yes, I'm going to stake in the ground and I'm going to show up for my story and I'm going to show up for your story. Well, you talk about your writing. You tell someone else, a lot of someone else's, that you're writing. Maybe you're starting with a blog series. Great. Maybe you're starting with a by being part of an anthology. That's fabulous. That's getting your feet wet so that you are a published author, published in a community. So you're all lifting each other up. And the synchronicity and the essence of the core messages that you all have are going to send that information and inspiration out into the world together. That's one of the reasons why I've participated in the anthologies and why I'm being t- jumping in to being a compiler in an anthology this year in her own words, where I'm I'm taking the next level of more than a participant. I'm eagerly looking for other authors to join me in this anthology and to help them realize their dream of being a published author and to be in community with them to support them when they figure out what am I going to write about and helping them craft that story and help them on the journey of being published and promoting it. That's It's all part of you getting your message out and you being visible in the world. And I know that the keep writing sitting down and just doing it can be a really hard thing because we we don't always feel inspired. I'm admitting it. I'm being honest that you made the commitment that you're going to blog twice a week. You made the commitment that you're going to send to your list to nurture that relationship. You made the commitment that yes, I'm going to be in an anthology. You made the commitment that I'm going to publish my book and put a date on it. So that means you make the commitment to create that content. That means that even if you don't feel like it, you're going to sit down and spend some time writing. So how do you accomplish that? You make a date with yourself on the calendar and you don't break that date. You don't push it around and say, I'll get to it later. Sometime, yeah, I'll get around to it. And someday I'm going to write that. Sunday is not a date on the calendar. You write down, perhaps you're going to start coming to Tuesday writing rooms. Perhaps Thursday evening is the best time for you to do a chunk of writing. Well, what I would suggest is that you make a commitment to 5 minutes every day to start that habit, to prime the pump of inviting your creativity in every day. And if you make it a little ritual, if you do it at the same time every day, I light a candle, I play the same music, I'm sitting in the same spot usually. And if I'm not sitting in the same spot, I'm describing where I'm sitting so that I feel grounded and I'm letting the universe know that, okay, she's ready for whatever message that we're here to deliver to her today to hear what we have to say because she's got her pen, she's got her journal, the music's going, she lit the candle. That's our cue. So you build your writing practice the way you go to the gym and you don't start out with the 50-pound dumbbell. No, you have a 5-pound weight and then you build up to that. So 5 minutes will go by so fast and you'll go, wow, I just got on a roll. Fabulous. That means that you've opened the floodgates and you can receive all that information. Everything I've done personally and professionally has started in my journal. No, truth. I have not always written every day. But the days that I do write, I know that the rest of the day flows so much better because I feel centered. I feel like I got in touch with my soul. So, what have we talked about? We talked about you got to start somewhere. Maybe you start by doing a visualization of what things are going to be looking like when you finish this. You're going to be at a book signing and being interviewed on the radio, on television, and podcasts, and being asked to speak all over the world because what you said made a difference and people want to hear from you in person. Maybe you start in the middle where you're on a roll, you know where you want to take your readers, you know what your call to action is, you know how you want them to feel when they finish reading your book. You want that, you know what you want them to know and what you want them to do. And maybe you start in the beginning and you do a whole section on your why. Why am I writing this book right now? Why is this important to my readers? Why did that happen to me so that I knew this and I could share this? You get to choose where you start. What I am here to, to implore you is to just start, because someday is not a date on the calendar. And make a commitment to yourself to show up on the page at least 5 minutes every day. Maybe you just make a list of all the all of the life experiences that have happened to you, and ponder, consider, um, what are the ones that really took me to the next level, took me to another place. We think about the five stressors in our lives: the loss of a job, the major move, a catastrophic illness, loss of a loved one, and divorce. You know, we've all had some of that. I've had all of it at least twice, except for the divorce part. But I've been married a long, long time. So there have been a lot of ups and downs in there, a lot of compromise, a lot of conversations, a lot of things that have happened to us. Um, the my husband loss of a job, that's twice, which meant a major move, um, twice, and catastrophic illness. That's my breast cancer twice. Loss of a loved one, which also resulted in my family recognizing me as a writer, and my baptism by fire as a speaker, because my brother's children came to me and asked me to write his eulogy. And he used to tease me mercilessly about he was going to find my journal and he was going to read it. And when you're 11 years old, what are you writing? You're writing about who was cute on TV last night, and copying down poems that you liked in magazines, and doodling about, well, what am I going to do when I grow up? So I knew that I could tell something about my brother that a lot of other people couldn't, that really would really illustrate his um, march to his own drummer kind of personality. And I was practicing, and my cousin came by, and I was just gripping the podium, um, for dear life, and she said, "No, just let Father read it. Don't get so upset about it." And I said, "No, it's really important that I deliver this, because nobody else could to talk about my brother the way I could." And so I had the entire congregation walking out, um, laughing through their tears, because the story I told really illustrated what his personality was, in a way that, not somebody who stood up there and said he graduated from Adams High School and he was in the Army and he's got three great kids. Yeah, those things were all true. Um, but nobody else knew the story or remembered the story of him falling asleep on the roof in those days where you had TV antennas on the roof and you would go up and twist them around to get better reception. And not many people would have the attitude or the aptitude to just, I'm waiting, I'll take a nap. So those are the kinds of stories that I wish for you to be able to pull out of yourself, so that you can have people leaning in to say, she gets me, and I know that she can help me find what it is that I want to do, that I want to talk about, that I want to be, that you have the solution for what they are looking for. So when you talk about, I'm writing this book, and your core message, that the people who need your core message will be leaning in saying, I can't wait for when you're finished writing that, so that I can have that information and inspiration with me all the time, that I have you in my pocket. So I invite you to just start, to make the commitment that you're going to show up on the page, even on those days where I don't feel inspired, I don't know what to say, that you have trained your brain that you when you show up on the on that at that time on your calendar that okay, this is my writing space. You put a date and the time that you're doing this, and maybe you start with a little poem. Maybe you start with a prayer. Maybe you have a basket of quotes, and you start with a quote. Give yourself writing prompts so that you have some place to go. And if you're writing a book, then ask the question, what does my book want me to know right now? If you don't have a list of writing prompts, ask yourself the question, what does my heart want me to know right now? What does my soul want me to know right now? Ask a question and let your hand go across the page answering it. Set a timer for 5 minutes and let your hand move across the page. That's how you create your writing prompt. That's how you write when you don't know what to write. That's how you write when you don't know what you're going to say. You ask a question and let your soul answer it. So I'm inviting you to take me up on the offer of joining us in the writing room, because if you want to make a commitment to showing up on the page, we're there every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific. Just send me an email to mary@yourwritingmentor.com, and I'll put you on the reminder list so that you get the link to come to our sacred writing room. And if you are ready to be in an anthology, send me an email and say, I'd like to know more about the anthology, a collaboration book of women telling their transformational stories. I'm looking for 12 women who want to craft their life experience, the wisdom that they have learned, and share it with other women, to inspire them, to help them to the next level, to take the wisdom that we have learned and share it so that others can learn what we've learned and take it to the next level for them. And just send me an email, mary@yourwritingmentor.com, or go to yourwritingmentor.com and look at the information there about In Her Own Words. I am Mary Knipple, the book mentor, and I hope you got some ideas about how to get started writing and how to keep writing until you finish that project and establish your own writing practice so that you show up on the page and hear what your heart wants you to know. I'm Mary Knipple, the book mentor. Until next time.